Michael Jordan is still considered by many to be the greatest player of all time. To be fair, it's probably a toss-up between him and LeBron James. When you think about basketball, you think about Michael Jordan highlights and the Jordan brand. However, there's players, analysts, and fans who don't like Jordan at all because of his personality. So what do fellow Hall of Famers think about him? Here's what NBA legends really think about Michael Jordan. Let's start off first with MJ's long-term teammate and sidekick, Scottie Pippen. Scottie and MJ have a unique and special relationship that goes back decades. The two were brothers on the court for years, going to war against the best stars the 90s NBA had to offer. And they were arguably the best and most dominant duo ever on their way to winning 6 championships together. But recently, things have been much different. If you ain't already heard, you may be surprised to hear what Scottie has to say about MJ. The longtime Robin said, "I may go as far to say Mike ruined basketball," Pippen said. In the 80s, on the playground, you'd have everybody moving the ball around, passing to help the team. That stopped in the 90s. Kids wanted to be like Mike. Well, Mike didn't want to pass, didn't want to rebound, or defend the best player. He wanted everything done for him. That's why I always believed LeBron James was the greatest player this game has ever seen. He does everything and embodies what the game is truly about. Oh hell nah, come on Scottie, you gotta let it go, man. Let it go, let it go. Why are you so angry with this guy? Are you just upset that Jordan's son is piping down your ex-wife? Oof. Or maybe that you weren't able to win the title when Jordan retired and you needed to beg him to come back to win more rings. But since these words are taken from Scottie's recent book, we think they might just be written clickbait meant to sell books. And Charles Barkley agrees with us. "Scottie's just trying to sell books," Barkley said. "I don't think he's worried about relationships down the line, friendships down the line. I think he's just trying to sell books." Either way, let's hear from another former teammate of MJ. Kim Jong-un's best friend, Dennis Rodman. Now, Dennis the Menace is one of the biggest characters and unique personalities in NBA history, and he's never been scared to be transparent. He says everything how he sees it, and there's just no two ways about it. This attitude of Dennis also applies to how he views Michael. When speaking of MJ, Rodman said this, "I don't think anyone can control the game like MJ. And the fact is, when you get the ball in his hands, it's gonna be good. You can give it to Kobe, you can give it to LeBron, any player today, but it's not like Michael." You know, people was like, "Oh God," when he get the ball saying, "Oh my God." And of course they would. He's God. According to Rodman, the nickname Black Jesus was not an exaggeration for Jordan. Even to other Hall of Famers like Rodman, one of the best rebounders of all time, Jordan was God on the court. But let's see what other NBA legends had to say about Jordan, not just his teammates. Big Shaq. Shaquille O'Neal. Shaq was just starting his career when he played against MJ, and he was one of the few rookies in the East ever to defeat him in the playoffs when Jordan was in his prime, beating the Bulls with the Magic in his rookie year to make the finals. So what does MJ mean to Big Diesel? Here are Shaq's statements.
"I was terrified and happy at the same time. Happy because as a kid, me and my friend were watching this guy. He has his own shoe, he won the dunk contest, he could fly. But then when I got in the game and I saw him do his first move and he hit his shot, he just hit like 4 or 5 shots in a row. I was like, wow, all this stuff I saw on TV is real life. I was terrified."
So who's the GOAT according to Shaq, who played with and against all the top names, including MJ, LeBron, and Kobe? Not so hard to guess, right? On Who's the GOAT, Shaq said,
"Michael Jordan is the best ever. I grew up watching karate movies, so the basis of every karate movie that I watched, at some point the young student must kill the master to become the master. So Mike's the master. Everyone knew in order to get to the finals, you gotta get past Mike, and I was the last one to accomplish that."
Well, in this regard, I think Shaq's views are one of the people who should be evaluated the most, because MJ is often compared to Kobe and LeBron, and Shaq played against all those guys. So he's definitely certified when it comes to who's the GOAT. So we know Shaq's one of the few people to develop close relations with Kobe, MJ, and LeBron. So what do other guys that are often in the GOAT debate think of Jordan? Let's see. Black Mamba. Let's see what Kobe says. Now, Kobe and Jordan had a special and different relationship. These guys, man, their love for each other was different, their communication was different, and everything was just different about the relationship from every other person that they had relationships in the league before they met each other. Jordan didn't take a lot of people under his wing, he preferred to destroy them instead. But he just couldn't help but mentor Kobe a little bit when he came into the league. And although they were highly competitive on the court, it was almost like a father and son dynamic, or older brother, little brother, where even though they were both wanted to win and they both wanted to kill each other, they both had a lot of love and respect. And best believe Kobe learned a lot from Mike. Do you know that Kobe continued to play basketball thanks to Jordan? Yeah, dude. The Black Mamba almost called it a quits when he was a kid. And an exclusive for the Players Tribune, the 16-time All-Star and Hall of Famer noted that he almost gave up on the sport after scoring 0 points in a Philadelphia summer league called the Sunny Hill Future League when he was 12 years old. That's right, the mini Mamba didn't score a single point. Not a lucky layup, not a free throw throw, nothing. To add insult to injury, this was a league that his dad and uncle had played in years prior, who were both pro hoopers, and he felt like he was putting his family to shame. So much so that he even considered quitting basketball completely to focus on soccer. But according to him, when he read about MJ's humble beginnings, a change in mentality happened that would stay with him for the rest of his life. Kobe said this: "Here's where my respect and admiration for MJ was forged. I learned that he had been cut from high school team as a freshman. I learned he knew what it felt like to be embarrassed, to feel like a failure, but he used these emotions to fuel him, make him stronger. He didn't quit. So I decided to take on my challenge the same way he did. I would channel my failure as fuel to keep my competitive fire burning. I became obsessed with proving to my family, and more importantly to myself, that I can do this." Whew, that gave me chills. And when Kobe made the league, you better believe he communicated with Jordan whenever he had the chance. And the Black Mamba expresses Jordan's effect on basketball like this: "I learned a lot and cared a lot about how technically sound Michael was. It's one thing to watch them play, and then there's another thing playing against them. MJ's technique was flawless. I wanted to make sure my technique was just as flawless." Man, I wish we could see those two together once more. R.I.P. Mamba. But anyways, let's see what the #1 contender for GOAT status has to say about Jordan. LeBron James. Now, King James has won 4 championships, and you know he was inspired by Jordan because of the era he grew up in. But my man LeBron has been feeling himself recently, and a couple years ago, he called himself the GOAT on an interview. Anyway, despite LeBron calling himself the GOAT, nothing changes about how much of a fan he is of MJ. LeBron admired MJ so much. So much so that James said when he first met him, he turned into an absolute fanboy. LeBron said in an interview with Uninterrupted, "I was like, oh my God. I didn't think he was real, man. You don't understand. I didn't think Mike Jordan was real. I only thought he lived in the TV, either in games or commercials or Come Fly With Me on cassette tapes. I didn't think he was real. When I saw him, I was like, if the man above would have took me that day, I would have lived a hell of a life. I swear to God, after seeing Mike, I literally couldn't believe it was him. I couldn't believe it. The dude looked like Jesus Christ to me. He was Black Jesus to me. Nobody could say anything different." That right there says a lot. LeBron may call himself the GOAT, but he still looks up to MJ like a little kid. And I'm glad that we have these legends that affirm how great MJ truly was, because there was no social media back then, and definitely not as much footage as we have nowadays to show how great this man truly was. The fact that all the best players in the league of this generation and generations past say that this guy was like a god is all you need to know. So yeah, man, that's about it. That's what NBA legends think about Michael Jordan. There's gonna be some people who don't love him, as is always on the top, especially Mr. Robin, Scottie Pippen. You know he's salty from being second fiddle his whole life. But at the end of the day, the discussion of GOAT, it's all PR, man. It's just pointless. Everyone played in different eras and won a different number of championships, played with different rules and different circumstances. It's really impossible to compare people from different areas. But people are still gonna argue about who's the greatest of all time. So let's just continue to enjoy our beautiful game of basketball, man, because the league is in good hands with these stars we got nowadays. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and smash that bell icon too for notifications. Peace and love, everybody, and we'll see you in the next video.
Peace.